It is the year 2155. The people of Earth now travel between the stars. Following the sad lessons of the Little War, a unified Earth knew a century of golden peace and prosperity. A glorious dream dashed by the arrival of a hostile armada. Earth and her partners in the Alliance of Free Stars faced a monstrous adversary. The predatory UR-Quan and its hierarchy of battle thralls. There were many great battles, yet Earth was losing. But then, far across space, an amazing discovery was made, deep beneath the surface of an alien world. An underground city, filled with the technological wonders of the precursors, an ancient and powerful race who vanished 1,000 centuries ago. But the UR-Quan swept through the nearby stars, stranding our scientific team here. 20 years have passed. We have continued our research. We now know what the precursors built here. It is a factory for building starships. But there are only enough materials to build the skeleton of one vessel. Yet that must be enough. Because you must pilot the vessel and return to Earth. And if the war with the UR-Quan still rages, fight for Earth and the Alliance as well as you can.
Hello, y'all. We're going to play Star Control 2. This is by far one of my favorite space adventure games. I've probably beat this game at least 4 to 5 times, if not more. I'm playing the 3DO version just because I have the ROM, but the MS-DOS version is just as good. First stop is Earth. You'll notice that it isn't encased in a slave shield, so you will have to talk to the people at the starbase. Well, looks like we already got somebody's attention.
Attention, interloper. Heed this recorded message. This drone vessel speaks with the voice and authority of UR-Quan. You are trespassing within UR-Quan space. This world, Earth, may not be approached for any reason, nor will hostilities against our orbital platform be tolerated. In addition, your ship does not respond to standard hierarchy identification transmissions, and is therefore deemed to be independent. This is not permissible. Only subservience shall be tolerated. This drone now leaves to inform the UR-Quan of your transgressions. You are commanded to remain here and await the arrival of the UR-Quan. Disobedience will be punished.
Well, I guess the Alliance lost the war. So the player is given near total freedom to explore the galaxy at large. Exploration often involves traveling to stars, landing on planets, and gathering resources. The player navigates the star map with over 500 stars and 3,800 planets to potentially visit.
Attention, unidentified space vessel. I am Starbase Commander Hayes of the slave planet Earth. Our hyperwave broadcast is extremely weak. Situation critical. Energy cores exhausted. Scanners and deep radar are non-functional. We cannot identify your vessel. Are you the scheduled hierarchy resupply ship? Repeat, are you the resupply vessel? The starship what? Never mind, look. We won't last much longer. Here's our situation. According to our oath of fealty to the UR-Quan, we must maintain the starbase, but we have no space vessels of our own. And the shield prevents us from contacting Earth, so we're totally dependent on the UR-Quan supply vessels for everything we need up here. We know there's a hierarchy base on the surface of the moon, but we can't contact them. The UR-Quan were supposed to resupply the base at regular 5-year intervals, but we haven't received anything in almost 8 years. What we don't recycle, we can usually synthesize, but to do so, we need replacement radioactives for our generator energy cores. If you could bring us some radioactive elements, we can fabricate the cores ourselves. Are you willing to help us? Thanks, I'll make sure to mention this the next time I talk with our masters. I'm sure they will reward you.
We're going to make a quick stop at the moon and check out the base there before we hit Mercury. You must manage the risk as you explore the planets. Planets with more dangerous hazards usually feature more valuable resources, which are vital to upgrade your player's fleet. Your scanner scans for biological, energy signatures, and resource signatures. You use your lander to gather the resources and the biological data and to investigate the energy signatures. Seems kind of weird that somebody rigged these robots with a biological signature. Well, looks like nobody's home. The one-on-one spaceship battles take place in real time, based on the core gameplay of the original Star Control. Each ship has unique weapons, maneuvers, and second abilities, and winning a battle requires a combination of ship selection and skill. This combat mode can be played separately in a 2-player battle mode called Super Melee. In the story mode, the player is limited to the ships they can gain from sympathetic alien races. In the Super Melee, you can use every ship except for the capital ship. Each alien species that you encounter have their own characteristics, conversational quirks, music, and even display fonts. And some of the aliens are quite unique characters in this game. The 3 things you have to worry about the most on a planet is the temperature, the earthquakes, and the lightning. Those are your hazards. And some of the creatures that you encounter on the planets will also attack you. And as you can see by the data, Mercury is a little more dangerous than the Moon was. And since Mars is right next door, we're going to go to Mars, and then we'll go back to the base.
Did you find any radioactive elements for our power cores? We're initiating transfer of radioactives, Captain. Now, as soon as our engineers can refit the energy cores, that's much better. Power ratings are climbing, life support is coming back into the green. Deep radar systems and sensors are now online, and I can scan your vessel. What the hell kind of ship is that? Just who are you, Captain? Star Control science mission, huh? Captain, I served as a Star Control officer during the war aboard several cruisers in the Corward Front. And if there'd been any scientific mission to Vela, I would have heard about it. You know, come to think of it, there were some rumors that Corridor 9, the Special Operations Division of Star Control, was directing some hush-hush operation near Androsynth Space. The Vela star system, yes, that would be the right direction. So, Captain, if you say it's true, how do you explain that huge alien starship you're flying? And why are you here? What do you want from us? Fight the UR-Quan. Win back our freedom. I remember having such thoughts myself once, long time ago. That was in the first years after the defeat, when it was still terrifying to look up and see the bloody glow of the pulsating slave shield overhead. So day and night we gazed up at the impenetrable wall as though the sheer power of our hatred would pull it down. But over the years I spent so much of my time struggling, down on the surface, under the shield, and then later up here trying to keep the station alive, that I'd forgotten what it means to be free, to hate our UR-Quan masters. And now here you are, in an alien ship of unknown power, offering me your assistance to fight against the hierarchy again after all these years. Captain, your offer is intriguing. It's tempting to think that with your advanced precursor technology, we can somehow crack the Earth's slave shield and reassemble the Alliance to attack the hierarchy. And this time, win the damn war. Consider the consequences if you should fail. The UR-Quan won't just punish us here on the station, they'll exact a gruesome retribution on the surface below as well. Before I commit this station to helping you attack the UR-Quan and accepting the risk of annihilation if we are defeated, I have to make sure that you and your ship have what it takes to oppose the hierarchy. I'll make you a deal. If you can eliminate the alien base on the moon and get rid of that threat at least, I will seriously consider your offer. I'll be darned. All these years we've been listening to their incoherent broadcast and we never even guessed. Captain, listen closely. Long-range sensors show a ship closing on this station fast. Our computer identifies it as Ilrath, Avenger class. I think you've got a fight on your hands, Captain. Your best bet is to wait.
By the fool! As alien as your ship may be, our sensors reveal how few weapons you have on board. Though this vessel is undercrewed, and our cloak of darkness is non-functional, we still have more than enough power to kill you all.
What a beautiful... A sensible plan, Captain. Let's get to work. Good luck. By the way, Captain, I think we need a name for this new alliance we're going to forge. And since it was your idea, it's only fair that you get the honor of naming it. So, what will it be? Okay, that sounds pretty inspiring. So be it. The new alliance of free stars. Now, Captain, I expect the configuration process for the starbase to take at least 2 weeks, so let's get to work. I have good news to report, Captain. We have successfully integrated the precursor technology from your ship into our fabricator system, and as you can see, we've already begun minor repairs on your ship, patching up some of the micrometeorite holes. We noticed that your ship does not have an emergency warp escape unit, so our engineers rigged up some for you and each of your escorts. Now, you should be able to escape from a bad situation with the touch of a button. But there is a cost, however. The unit gulps up 5 fuel units each time your precursor ship uses it. Also, we now have a limited capacity to make modifications to your ship, to refine starship fuel, to build additional combat ships, and to train new members of your crew for the flagship and any ships you acquire for your fleet. Captain, I know you're eager to get to work, so I'll be brief. If you have any questions how this starbase works, what resources we need, or just some background information on the galaxy, don't hesitate to ask. Not a bad job, Captain. Farewell, Captain.
Now that we got the space station back in line and they're on our side, we have a few more options. Now we can upgrade our capital ship and also buy other ships and personnel. Once we're done outfitting the ship, we are going to get our resources from the other planets in the solar system. The last stop is Pluto. Pluto has a little surprise for us. The crystals that we find on the planet are valuable, and there's an energy signature. You only have a certain amount of time to be able to do everything you need to do to defeat the UR-Quan. If you don't do it fast enough, you will lose the game.
Attention, big, mean, hostile alien vessel hovering overhead in an obvious attack posture. This is Spotty, Captain Whistle. I know you are going to torture me, so let's just get this over with right now. The coordinates of my homeworld, Spottywa, are 241.6 by 368.7, and the ultra-secret Spotty cipher, which is known only by me and several billion other Spotty, is Huffy Muffy Duffy. Sorry about that little mistake with your landing vehicle. I was so startled when it approached my vessel in a threatening manner that my automated defense systems fired on it when it got too close. I hope nobody got hurt. Of Of course. As I said, I am Captain Photo of the Spotty Lordship Star Runner. Our sensors have tracked your entry into the system, which you are no doubt here to conquer. And while you are certainly welcome to do so, we would be greatly appreciative if you would please just go away and forget the star system ever existed. If you don't go, it will greatly complicate our master-slave relationship with the UR-Quan, who stationed us here to watch over the Earthlings. Phew, thanks. For a minute there, I thought you were going to kill me. Well, I really want to, but I am just not sure that under the present circumstances, joining you in your exciting and also dangerous space adventures would be the best course of action right now, because the UR-Quan could return at any minute, and the punishment they would bestow on me for such treason would make any other horrible death seem like big fun by comparison. Thanks for the offer, though. About 20 years ago, this region of space was dominated by a loose confederation known as the Alliance of Free Stars, which was composed of the aliens native to these parts who did not want to be enslaved. They made a valiant effort against the superior UR-Quan forces. It even looked like they might miraculously defeat the combined UR-Quan armada, right up to the point at which the UR-Quan totally defeated, indeed annihilated them. When the UR-Quan armada entered the system to subjugate formerly the Earthlings, the UR-Quan presented the humans with the standard slave options. Join the hierarchy as combat roles and retain some autonomy, including the right to travel through space, or become a fellow species and return to pre-atomic savagery on the surface of their homeworld, encased for all time beneath an impenetrable force shield. The humans chose the latter option, and so were swiftly imprisoned on the surface of Earth. But the UR-Quan didn't trust them to obey the restrictions, so they chose a small group of hierarchy combat starships from the Illwraith and Spartan fleets to create the so-called Earth Guard and station them at a base on Earth's moon. Originally, we were stationed on Earth's moon, which made us Spotty a bit uneasy, because with each passing day we grew more and more worried about the sneaky Earthlings making a surprise attack. So the Illwraith kept telling us that it was impossible, since the Earthlings had no ships or weapons whatsoever. That made us feel a bit better, but when the Illwraith left, again we grew fearful, and decided to make a strategic redeployment to Mars. Later on we decided it would be prudent to relocate to Jupiter's moon, Ganymede, then later Saturn's moon, Titan, and finally here to Pluto. The Illwraith contingent were supposed to be the toughest ridge crest, the most rigid flipper, yes, the backbone of the Earth Guard force. But they departed the system en masse not long after the last UR-Quan dreadnought vanished from this region of space. They claimed to have received a direct order from their gods of evil and darkness, who had grown dissatisfied with the Illwraith's passivity and wanted them to kill, or at least torture someone soon. Personally, I believe they just got bored and went off to have some fun. Well, when they were pushing up into hyperspace 18 years ago, we asked them that very question, and I think they said something to the effect of, "Real soon." We decided said that if the Earthlings figured out we had abandoned the base on Luna, they would be more likely to try something sneaky. So, we rigged up some old service androids and ordered them to drive around on the lunar surface in bulldozers, endlessly pushing around the same piles of dirt. In addition, we connected the base's local radio transmitter to an audio malnorme fun rum called Winky's Happy Night, hoping they would think we were still there. Over the past years, it became necessary to redeploy strategically some of our Earth-Guard forces to our homeworld in case of a sudden surprise attack by a vicious, unrelenting alien race which we spotty call the Ultimate Evil! Dozens, that is to say scores, and perhaps even hundreds of my brethren stride through the corridors of this specially modified, super-efficient, mass destruction-oriented starship, which could lay siege to an entire planetary system should we choose to do so, which, fortunately for you, we have decided not to do today. I am undone! You are far too clever for a poor spatty like me, and now I must submit to your superior alien intellect. I guess I am not revealing any truly important secrets if I tell you that each of my species' lunar-class void ships typically holds 30 spatty crewmen, though at present my vessel, the Star Runner, is not up to full complement due to the needs of my homeworld in their resistance against the Ultimate Evil. And in fact, my vessel is somewhat understaffed right now, seeing as how I am the only spotter on board, which is a bit frightening, as I am sure you can understand. How true, Captain, how true! In truth, just between us, during the past 7 years, I have been quite ill at ease, and yet now I find myself enjoying your company. This witty dialogue, and the presence of your huge, powerful, death-dealing starship, which, being my friend, you would certainly feel compelled to use in order to save me from any hostile life forms who threatened me with death. As yet, the Ultimate Evil remains largely unmanifest, and its powers and exact intentions are still a bit obscure, since it lurks just outside the range of even the most sensitive long-range detectors, which we feel gives conclusive evidence as to the Ultimate Evil's nefarious intent. Since it was our most powerful and unforgiving masters, the UR-Quan, who stationed us here, we knew it would be grossly stupid to disobey them completely, but we decided it would be okay to send just one ship home. We used one of our most ancient and solemn rituals, Poon Taffy, to pick the lucky ship. Then, some months later, we decided that it wouldn't really hurt if we sent one more ship home. And then later we sent another, and then another. Well, you get the idea. Alas, as fate would have it, when the final ritual was performed, I, Farifo, was left here alone. For, as even the most immature in questioning knows, there must always be one spotter who picks the short top prune stick. Our masters don't really keep us very well informed about their goings-on, so that all we know is that immediately after the subjugation of the last Alliance race, the Hut, I think, the UR-Quan gathered their dreadnoughts and departed toward the edge of the galaxy, commanding us to obey the slave laws or face their wrath when they returned. We only know bits and pieces of what happened to each race. For instance, when defeated, the Yahat joined the hierarchy as combat thralls, while the Cyrene chose to be slave-shielded on a planet in the Bug Squirt star system. No, that's not Right, I forget its name. Anyway, where was I? Oh yes, the Sophisti. They were utterly wiped out in a gigantic blaze of glory. The Sophisti were half feral, as you know, having been uplifted by the Yahat just a few decades before the start of the war. Given their habit of detonating those suicidal so-called glory devices in combat, it came as no particular surprise to me when, upon the arrival of the UR-Quan primary task force at their homeworld, the Sophisti caused their sun to explode in a colossal supernova, destroying the entire planetary system, and not incidentally dozens of UR-Quan dreadnoughts. Happy days and jubilation! I discard all prejudice and hesitations and accept and celebrate your offer of protection and your undying commitment to my well-being. I must wax melancholy for just a moment though, and make sure you understand that any other spaceships we meet at large in the galaxy are not going to be quite so responsive to your friendly gestures as myself, since they bear more heavily the yoke of UR-Quan enslavement and are also apt to talk themselves out of allying with a totally unknown alien, which I, having been left here alone, cannot do. Welcome me aboard, Captain.
Looks like our first alliance.